Good afternoon, and it's just about Christmas time, and I love Christmas. It brings back many memories to me through the years. One tradition that I've had for quite a while, for the past at least several years, is going to a Christmas Eve candlelight service. And I actually started that tradition with my Aunt Beulah May Ashley. I started that tradition with her, and she was more like a grandma to me, really. But I started that tradition with her there, and we started going to the local Methodist church. And I think the first time we ever went was on a Christmas Eve, and it was at midnight. We had to get up at midnight to make it to this Christmas Eve service, and there was an experience. We were there, me and my aunt. And then there was a few other people there and some singers, and there was probably all in total probably 10 people that was there. And then they started lowering it down to like 7-8 o'clock. So it was a whole lot better, but that was a tradition that I always love, and it's peaceful, and I always love it. Different people has different traditions around the holidays. We have Christmas, you have Hanukkah, Thanksgiving, you have just a lot of different people that celebrates during this these last few weeks of the year, different holidays. Anyway, as you know, I love to read, and I checked out this book. I seen it a few years ago on the library shelf of Perry County Library, and I didn't check it out then, but I was reading some books, Advent books, and then after I had to go to read a few Advent books, and after I read the Advent books, I'm like, well, I want to read something light, and that's just how I am. I have to read something a little bit light, and so I picked this book here to read. It's very, very good, very light read. To me, that's what I say, very light read. But I checked it out through Hoopla. It is available on Hoopla, and it is also available on Kentucky Library Unbound. There is a wait time on that one, okay? But there, you can check it out with that. And the book is called A Kentucky Christmas, and it's edited by George Ella Lyon. And this book has different authors. I mean, many different authors in this book. And I'm just going to look over some that she includes. She includes Diane April, Harriet, Diane April, and she looks like she is from Louisville, Kentucky. Harriet Simpson Arno, she's in Wayne County, around Wayne County, Kentucky. Rebecca Bailey is contributed to this book. Wendell Berry, he's from Henry County, Kentucky. Henry County native. Sally Bingham, Louisville County native. Joy Bale Boone, also contributed. Mary Bradby, trying to read all the ones. Harry Cottle, which is a local one in Whitesburg, Kentucky, Letcher County native. Also Billy C. Clark writes in this book. Let's see, Thomas D. Clark, is included in this book. Linda Scott Dear Ulcer, David Dick, Leon Driscoll, Kim Edwards. I'm just going to read just the names. George Eklund, John Fox Jr. That's another big name one. Martha Gallion Geringer, Jane Gentry, Janice Holt Giles, then there is Sarah Gorham, Jonathan Green, James Baker Hall, Wade Hall, Pauletta Hansel, Kathleen Hill Sterling, Chris Holbrook, let's see who else, Silas House, that's a very big name person, Harlan Hubbard, Marcia Hurlow, Loyal Jones, Letha Kendrick, Carolyn J. Lacey, Ronnie Lundy, Lorda Lynn even has a piece in this book. George Ella Lyon, and that's the one that actually got the book together. I was going to read a little bit about her. Grew up in the mountains of Harlan County, Kentucky, in the elementary school. She began writing poetry, and by the time she was a teenager, she had become interested in music as well as writing. In 1971, Lyon graduated from Centre College and earned a doctorate from Indiana University in 1978. It was her love for poetry and her son Ben's questions that helped her make the transition for writing for children. In 1985, Lyon's first children's book, Father Time in Day Boxes, was published, and since then she has published over 24 books for children and adults. Her works include Borrowed Children, Catalpa, Come a Tide, With a Hammer for My Heart, Mama is a Miner, Gana, see, most recently Mother to Tigers. But anyway, that's George Ella Lyon, the one that edited this book and brought this book to us. Other authors mentioned as was Elizabeth Maddox Roberts, Morris Manning from Danville, Melinda Mason. She is Letcher Countian. She's a Letcher County native. Attended Hazard Community College before graduating the University of Kentucky with a Bachelor of Arts degree in journalism. So, I mean, you got all kinds of different authors here. And this book, even though it's a Christmas book, it can be used to as a diving board to research other authors. I mean, myself, and I will have me a pen, and actually what I've done with this is I had a little pen, and I began to write down authors that I'd never heard of. Some of these authors, I'd never heard of them, and it's going to be interesting in the new year, 2023, to read their books. They're all pretty much local people. So it's going to be interesting, and I'm looking forward to it. But I'll tell you a little bit about Belinda Mason. She was born in 1958, raised in Letcher County, Kentucky. She attended Hazard Community College before graduating from the University of Kentucky with a Bachelor of Arts degree in journalism. She worked as a writer for Public Information Department of Kentucky State Government under John Y. Brown in Frankfort as a reporter for the Ohio County Times, News, and Hartford, Kentucky. Belinda published short stories in the Appalachian Heritage magazine, and wrote one play, Gifts of the Spirit, which was performed by Roadside Theater and Apple Shop in Whitesburg, Kentucky. She died in 1991. So there you go. That's about that. Another one that is in this book, some more. I'm just going to read right on through. Bobby M. Mason, Kathy May. I mean, you got lots of authors in here. Thomas Merton was born. This is another one here. I just want to read this. Thomas Merton, born 1915, was a Trappist monk at Our Lady of Gethsemane Abbey of Trappist, Kentucky. Merton is the author of more than 70 books and include poetry, personal journals, collections of letters, and social criticism. The Seven-Story Mountain remains in print after more than 50 years. Other works include New Seeds of Contemplation and Zine and the Birds of Appetite. He died in 1968. Jim Wayne Miller is also included. Maureen Moorhead is also included. John Jacob Niles is also included. Chris Offutt is also included. Jane Olmsted is also included in this book. Frank Olson, Lynn Pruitt, okay, I think that's how you pronounce it, Lynn Pruitt. Jean Ritchie, which is a local person, not too far from my home is where she was born and raised. Anne Shelby, Graham Thomas Shelby, Pam Shingler, Frederick Smock, Peggy Steele, Albert Stewart, James Steele. James Steele is a local author. He was born in July 1906 in northern Alabama, where he spent his youth on a cotton farm. He left Alabama to attend Lincoln Memorial University in Cumberland Gap, Tennessee, and later attended Vanderbilt University and the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign. At the height of the Depression, Steele was freshly minted to graduate looking for work. His friend Don West suggested that he come with him and his wife to Kentucky for vacation Bible schools, and it was there that Steele was offered a job as a librarian at Hyman Settlement School for only room, board, and laundry. He began submitting work to the Atlantic, the Yale Review, the Nation, and the Virginia Quarterly Review, and other journals. It was in 1940 he published his seminal work, Rivers of Earth. He was drafted into the Army 2 years later. Steele went and published several works of fiction and poetry, including Pattern of a Man, Run for the Alberts, Troublesome Creek, Sporty Creek, Wolfpeen Poems. For the years 1995-1996, he served as Kentucky's Poet Laureate. Steele received many honors for his writing, including 2 Guggenheim Fellowships Awards from the American Academy of Arts and Letters, for the National Institute of Arts and Letters, and the Southern Authors Award for Rivers of Earth. He died in April 2001. Also featured in this book, Jesse Stewart, Joe Servant, Dorothy Sutton, Richard Taylor. I'll just go ahead and read the rest of these. Mary Ann Taylor Hall, Frank X. Walker, Jan Walters Cook, Clifford Wick, Crystal Wilkinson, Jeff Worley, Maureen Worthington. So you got all these authors that comes in to this book, forms this book, and that George Ella Lyon edited this book, and it's called A Kentucky Christmas. We're going to read just a few pieces out of this book. And let's see here. This poem is from Elizabeth Maddox Roberts, and it's called Christmas Morning from Under the Tree. If Bethlehem were here today, or this were very long ago, there wouldn't be a winter time, nor any cold or snow. I'd run out through the garden gate and down along the pasture walk, and off beside the cattle barns, I'd hear a kind of gentle talk. I'd move the heavy iron chain, pull away the wooden pin. I'd push the door a little bit and tiptoe very softly in. The pigeons and the yellow hens and all the cows would stand away. Their eyes would open wide to see a lady in the manger hay. If this were very long ago, in Bethlehem, we're here today. And Mother held my hand and smiled. I mean, the lady would, and she would take the woolly blankets off her little boy so I could see. She would shut her eyes. His shut up eyes would be asleep, and he would look like our John. He would be all crumpled too and have a pinkish color on. I'd watch his breath go in and out. His little clothes would all be white. I'd slip my finger in his hand and feel how he could hold it tight. And she would smile and say, "Take care." The Mother Mary would take care. And I would kiss his little hand and touch his hair. While Mary put the blankets back, the gentle talk would soon begin. And when I'd tiptoe softly out, I'd meet the wise man going in. What a very good poem right there. Very good poem. Imagine what we would do if we were able to go back in time and time travel back to that point in history. We would do the same thing. We would sneak slowly down, no doubt. If we knew, and we had the idea, we knew that a Savior had been born, a King had been born, baby Jesus, we would tiptoe down through there to see this baby. All right. And this is written, this is titled Infamy at Midnight, January 20th, 1994, by Carolyn Jo Lacey. And an arty wind cut its glacial disk beyond orbit on my doorstep at midnight. I saw the moon shining like white fire at the top of the hill. Behind the black trees, their outstretched limbs piled high, with radiant white snow in the darkness. The ground piled high with radiant white snow, smooth in the darkness. Neither branch, brown leaf, nor seed-laden weed moved. Only the long splintered flakes moved, sparse and feather-like they fell. Some on the pines and spruces, each shining like crystal, glowing in the snow. The endless flow of them reached out into the universe. Here, away from wars and starvation, away from the malls and city streets, fastened with electric bulbs, after infamy and old Christmas. On a mid-January night on a farm in Kentucky, I saw ice fog sparkling in the moonlight, and for those moments felt peace. Surely the cattle were kneeling. Again, that's by Carolyn Jo Lacey. Let's see here. Again, we're reading from excerpts from the A Kentucky Christmas, edited by George Ella Lyon. Let me see here what else we're going to read. Well, hold on here, having a little bit of trouble. Okay, hold on here. I guess it's okay. This is from Jesse Stewart, from God's Odling, the story of Mick Stewart, my father. And this is just a little excerpt from that book. I remember now the Christmases of my childhood, not the Christmases of December 25th that we know, but the old Christmas that came on January 7th. If Mom and Pa believed Christ was born January 7th, then we believed it too. We have faith in their wisdom and goodness, but our main concern was that people should stop celebrating both the first and the second Christmas. It was like having two birthday celebrations every year, and it wasn't until years later in college that I understood that the January 6th and 7th date was that of Epiphany, celebrated by the Eastern Church, that it had taken those 12 days between December 25th and January 6th for the wise men to follow the star to Bethlehem. Our mother and father told us that on January 7th, the violets bloomed again under last year's leaves, the snow. They told us that the mountain daisy and often the apple, peach, and pear would bloom. When I was a child, I searched for proof of these things. I don't remember ever finding proof. But later, whenever apple, peach, and pear and daisy bloomed early, I remembered about the legend of January 7th. Often I found violets blooming under last year's leaves and under the snow, but never as early as January 7th. I wanted to believe this legend because I thought it a beautiful idea. Because of these stories, Old Christmas was the one I preferred. My mother and father said that the fox wouldn't catch the birds and the dog wouldn't harm the rabbits on Old Christmas. They quoted the Bible where the lamb and the lion lay down together. They told us God created all these animals, that they were kind to each other on this night of the Savior's birth. I always wanted to see a fox and a covey of quail lay down together. I wanted to see what would happen. Another beautiful legend of love had it that on this night all animals would speak to each other in the same language and understand each other. The owl spoke to the pheasant, while the chicken hawk spoke to the chickadee, the wren and ground sparrow. The weak had a voice equal to that of the strong. I felt closer to this Christmas because of the special respect the animals and birds paid the birth of the Savior. On both Christmas days, my father always gave his livestock extra rations of feed. He put extra ears of corn in the feed boxes for our horses or mules, and he gave the cows more cracked corn or soft corn nubbins. He gave our cattle extra hay, and he fed our swine some warm gruel made of ground corn and food scraps mixed up with warm water. We never forgot at Christmas or any other time. We never at Christmas or any other time gave our hogs swill, which we regarded as unclean. We children used to wonder what language the animals spoke to each other, what they said, and often wished that Christ had made it possible for them to have been friendlier with each other all year round, especially when we would find a rabbit's blood frozen in the snow on our way to Plum Grove School, where a fox had made off with him in the night. My older sister Sophia and I used to wonder if animals went to our heaven, or if they went to a heaven for their own kind, or if they went to a heaven for all the animals and birds. If they went to our heaven and we had killed them on earth, what would we say to them there? I had these thoughts. In the winter, when the snow was over the ground and the stars glistened, Paul go to the barn, feed the livestock at 4 a.m. I've seen him put corn in the feed boxes for the horses and mules, then go out and stand and look in the morning moon. He once told me that he always kept a horse with a flaxen mane and a tail because he liked to see one run in the moonlight with his mane arched high and his tail floating in the wind. I've gone out early in the morning with him. He showed me Jack Frost's beautiful architecture, which lasted only until the sun came up. This used to be one of the games my father played with me on cold mornings. He showed me all the designs that I would never have found without him. Today I cannot look at the white fields of frost on early winter mornings and not think of him. That was by Jesse Stewart, and the expert from the book, God's Oddling, the story of Mick Stewart, my father. That was just a few that I've read from there. It's a very, very good book. I would invite you to check that out. But you YouTube followers and Facebook followers, do me a favor. Comment your favorite Christmas memory under YouTube down below it, or if it's on Facebook, if it's on the podcast, comment under the Facebook where I post the podcast on there. Comment under that your favorite Christmas memory. That was a beautiful memory shared by Jesse Stewart. And I think around the mountains of Eastern Kentucky we have many different tales, and we have many different stories told and passed on from generation to generation. And I love to hear them tales. I love to hear that. But anyway, until next time, on the Reading Railway, we hope that you enjoy this, and this is going to be posted up and under the Grand Adventures page. And but thank you for listening. God bless.